everybody, to the first one, hopefully be many, these podcasts. Today first of all, I guess I should introduce myself. My name is Scott Inks, and I'm the Executive Director of the National Collegiate Sales Competition. I'm also Executive Director at the Center for Professional Selling, but I'm proud really to be able to introduce Andy Clement today. Andy Clement is Executive Partner at Gartner, and he is a former executive at Kimberly-Clark, brings a wealth of experience in sales and sales operations. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of the things that are affecting sales forces today. And I guess, Andy, first we'll start off with the thing that I'm sure is on everybody's mind, and that is AI. How do you see AI being managed or dealt with or confronted by sales organizations today?
Yeah, great question, Scott, and thanks for having me on. I think, some of what we are suggesting sales leaders do with AI is to make sure that sales leaders, heads of sales, are really taking control of what AI should do and shouldn't do for their team and for their customers, right? In many cases, AI is brought in by the chief technical or chief information officer, which is great from a technical standpoint, but they don't always understand the customers and really ways to benefit the sales organization, whether it's helping your sales team be more productive or to ultimately sell more. So I think first you want your sales leaders to be heavily involved in dictating where AI should be used and where it shouldn't be used. Does that make sense?
It makes a lot of sense. And I think, looking back even, as far back as I can remember, IT has always looked at things differently than the sales side, whether it was from back in the days of Salesforce automation, implementation, or customer relationship management. They just have a different perspective.
Totally. Yeah. And you got to, as a sales leader, you got to work really closely with your IT department. But if you're not careful, they may create something that really doesn't add as much value. We at Gartner say you don't want to just have technology. You want to have technology as a teammate, right? Technology that really supports your sales organization versus hinders them. We see a lot of sales leaders that make those mistakes if they're not careful.
No, Andy, when we talked a little bit offline, you talked a little about how AI isn't the thing that you implement by itself or onto itself, but more so that you use it to address other issues that organizations are struggling with. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, as a sales leader, you want AI to fit within your current sales strategy, right? So you don't want to rewrite your entire sales strategy just for AI. You want it to be an area that maybe complements. So, for example, many sales leaders have a strategy to improve their key account program, right? And if that's your strategy, then how do you pull in AI to either help you think through who are your key accounts, how you service them, or what many sales leaders are doing is to create better account plans with those key accounts, leveraging AI as an example.
All right. And, one of the things that I've really found useful when I was looking at a lot of this material as we prep for the National Collegiate Sales Competition and developing scenarios and things was this Gartner Priorities Navigator. And I know AI is mentioned in a couple places here, but it seems like, based on what you've been saying, is that you go around this board here and pick an issue, and is something that organizations could utilize AI to help process or manage. Is that fair to say?
There's figuring out ways to work with sales leaders to have AI fit in every area on that navigator, right? Whether it's, how do you enable your sales team? How do you get more out of your pipelines? How do you develop the right channel strategy or as I said, key account strategy? So how do you use it for sales compensation, right? So certainly, again, you want to tie to what are the most important things on that navigator and tie an AI in there.
And what are you seeing just in general sense? Is there any particular issue other than AI per se that organizations are dealing with now, or is it just kind of all over that board, so to speak?
I think, all sales leaders are worried about their sales talent, right? Making sure they have, the right sellers, or if that have the right skills. And if they don't have the right skills, how do you build them within your sales team? Tied to the conversation we've been having, one of the skills that Gartner has identified as really important for sales leaders and sales professionals in the future is the ability to use AI, effectively. And only about 7% of sellers from our studies show they've got that today. but it's going to be critically important, especially as more and more tools are kind of AI enabled over the future, that you build that with your sales team.
Yeah, I got to put a plug in here, Andy. You said that organizations are worried about sales talent. Of course, they could worry less if they would just focus on hiring from the schools that attend the National Collegiate Sales Competition. So they just had to work that in there.
I got no comment on
as
that.
people
Yeah.
who are prepped up there. But, you're right, though. One of the things that we talk about, because, there's people who have legitimate concern that AI might end up taking their jobs. What I've been trying to coach our students is that you got to learn how to use AI as a tool to help you be better at what you do. So kind of take the lead on it, grab it and use it to your advantage, find out how it can help you, as opposed to letting wait and see what AI is going to do.
Exactly. And we see the best sellers really embracing that. Many sellers are realizing if they leverage AI to get kind of some of the more administrative tasks done more quickly, that frees them up to do what they want to do, which is grow their pipeline, sell more customers, right? So AI can be, again, technology is a teammate, right? Somebody that's working alongside your sales organization to make them more effective and reduce kind of that administrative burden that always frustrates sellers. I know always frustrated my team at Kimberly Clark.
Okay. And, I recall back, I did this was years ago, back when CRM was called Salesforce Automation. And I was looking at how well organizations adopt it. And I think we talked even some about that. The failure rate on CRM implementations is relatively high. Do you see that same kind of thing happening with AI implementation, that organizations might struggle at first to get it successful as they kind of roll it out?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, again, I think you see some organizations introducing AI not because it's good for the sales team, just because some senior leader somewhere is pushing them to drive AI adoption, right? But the companies that are really tying it to their sales strategy, looking at 2 or 3 kind of key use cases first, working out the bugs and kinks, getting their sales team to kind of adopt it and be successful there before they move forward, are the ones that are being most successful, I would say.
Okay.
And honestly, like usually your CFO is going to look for a couple of quick wins to make sure it's working before they invest a lot more in AI anyway. So it makes sense from a business standpoint as well, I think.
Yeah, well, that ROI, right back to ROI. And
Exactly.
do you see some of this being like the AI adoption being starting from the bottom up? Maybe it's the salespeople who are bringing it into the organization and then kind of moving that way, or is it more top-down driven?
I think in certain cases it may start from the bottom up, but that, due to the data privacy and whatnot, can be, a little scary from a senior leader perspective. So
Okay.
ideally, it should be driven from the top down. But I think you want to listen to your salespeople on where are the best use cases, again, for them to be more effective, that ties to your strategy, and kind of meet them in the middle, deliver on that, have some of your early adopters maybe try these things out before you go full scale as well. We see really good companies trying it that way too.
Okay. And just, along the lines of AI implementation, it seems like from what I've been picking up as I help work on scenarios and learn more about Gartner for sales leaders, that in all these different issues, all these different facets that organizations are dealing with, back to that priorities navigator, that Gartner is really positioning itself as an expert in helping people implement AI in all those different areas. Is that fair to say?
Definitely. I mean, Gartner is really a world leader in AI. What I would say is we work with clients to help determine where on that rectangular board is the best place to implement AI. And then once you figure that out, we work with you on the best ways to actually create tech as a teammate so that AI is supporting those 1, 2, 3 areas that are important for you in your sales plan to ultimately hit your number. So we can work very high level strategically with you, and then we can get into the weeds and work with you to find the right technology vendor or create an AI sales agent internally to make sure that you're leveraging AI to get the most out of your sales team.
That's great. And I know AI has got a lot of things going on, and it can be scary, but to me, it's exciting to see all the potential we have for AI in all those different areas that help sales organizations be better.
Yeah, it's an exciting new frontier for sales leaders for sure.
Definitely. Well, Andy, hey, thank you very much for helping us on this first segment. And again, hopefully we'll be able to get you back here to talk about some of the individual pieces or the tools in Gartner for Sales Leaders, and just maybe talk a little bit more about how each of those are helping organizations improve their performance.
Great. Thanks for having me, Scott.
Thanks, Andy.